always thought that my parents worked really hard to provide for my sister and I, but long after we've moved out, they continue to work just as hard. I think this is part of the programming. I saw this at a young age and vowed to never live such a life. I told them when I was 14 that I would build a cabin in the wilderness, grow my own food, and not take part in any of this BS. And they told me no, that's no way to live. You need to work hard in life. And in part, they were right. I would have to work hard to build this cabin, and it cost me around $10,000. Took 5 or 6 years, but today I'm proud to say I live in the wilderness with my dog and my cat in this cabin that I built with my own hands. And I want to encourage you at the beginning of this video to follow your dreams, and everybody, family, friends, strangers, will oppose you. And your job is to tell them all to F off in a nice way. So thank you for being here. I love you all and welcome. So, I should not be recording right now, but the night is peaceful. I've done my major tasks for the day, mainly replacing this line coming in right here. It was 1/2 inch, and now I've changed it to 3/4 going into the hot water heater, and then it's still 1/2 inch coming out, but it's performing better now. I don't know why I was so nervous. And today I was just looking at some things on Stolen History. What an excellent website, the best in our community. And it's so great because somebody will post something similar to what we do here on YouTube, and then everybody just adds to it. Originally you have the main post, and then people just commenting and adding extra pictures, articles, and commentary. And this is the way to research these days as a community. And this was just a sanitation fair. We looked at such a fair in Philadelphia in the mid-1800s, and this one in particular is in Dresden, 1911, a city that was reset by the hands of men in recent times. I won't say more as it's forbidden, but let's backtrack. Recently I will have shared with you this souvenir notebook from the World's Fair of Chicago, along with the passports that we have seen, especially the early ones in the 1800s. This notebook of 1897 seems to paint a different picture of the World's Fair and what may have been going on. More of a school as opposed to a fair, having a curriculum and not seeming like it being all about pleasure and fun. And here, just randomly on the Stolen History site, I came across this exposition diplomas. And here, back in 2021, we see where the expos schools, as this post, a certificate or deed being issued by an educational institution. And we do see these expos referred to as institutions as well. And here we can see one from the Colombian Expo, signed by the chairman of the Committee of Boards, signed by 3 people, 1893 or 1894, June. It was awarded to an Andrew Miller An expert artisan, he, of the Trout Creek Lumber Company. So really strange. Here's another one in 1895, Bordeaux. This would be in France. And look at this. What is going on here? Look how beautiful. In France? How strange. And once again, a diploma, commemorative, signed here. And really interesting, the old world alongside the new one. Or at least the one that they wanted to promote as the future of man. And here in Brussels, 1897, super beautiful palace, and a diploma, or medal. Many signatures, 1, 2, 3, 4 at least, for an exam from the King of Belgium, Le Roi. Nonetheless, diplomas being kicked out with many signatures, very, very official. Here in Mississippi. So I don't know about Mississippi. I mean, I know I joke and say things like, this is not the Mississippi that I remember. This is not at all the feeling I get when I think of Mississippi. And I feel like a lot of the research that I do doesn't just blow me away, but everybody. And here I guarantee there are people from Mississippi watching this video that have never seen this photo before. And I've seen some of this expo, but this may as well be the first time for me, once again. And forgive me, this is Omaha, Nebraska. That's even weirder. Everything still applies. Not the Nebraska that anybody conceives of in America. When we in America think of Nebraska, we think of nothing. Flat, barren lands, now filled with corn and cattle, and nothing. And yet here it is, or was, of course. This will have all been torn down, of course, I don't even have to check. But we see they were giving out awards and diplomas, just to add to the mystery. How weird. Here back to Paris, 1900. And really, these old World's Fairs, especially these first 50, are just the old world. And they're even flaunting it. Nothing modern or new, just flaunting it, rehashing it all shamelessly. And here again, this diploma. I mean, think about the fair and just getting 3 or 4 employees together to sign something for one person. Not happening. This is much more organized. Truly an institution. Rubber stamps. At least 6 signatures on this one. And here's one looking very official. Very much like what diplomas or certificates resemble today. And this one does not seem to have been awarded to anybody, but has been signed. No date. 1904. And I kind of feel like there's another purpose to this. I feel like they were tricking the people into the straw man. All of these could become bonds and hold value in the new system that was being set up. This one seems like a trick. It was just for a regular attendee. This one in particular. Attendee would fill in their name, giving some sort of value to this certificate, because nothing has value without our signature, as far as these legal instruments are concerned. Here the Pan American Expo, Buffalo, New York, 1901. This one is a diploma for service, and this is what I wanted to really show you. I'm working my way backwards from my little peruse tonight. In my last video I will have shown you the reset of Dublin in very recent times. And today I wanted to look at Chicago, pre-fire, 1871. 1871 is an early year still for photography. Of course, the camera going way back, but for us in this community, 1871 is good. And we see the same scenario as we do in all cities. Very few people on the streets. Streets of mud. One of the most baffling clues lending to the idea that these people did not construct these cities. If you could lay all this brick and stone, erecting thousands of buildings, why wouldn't you do something about the mud roads? If we're to believe the narrative, somebody would have laid out all these streets to perfection. There must have been some kind of planning and zoning in place. But no, just leaving these streets in this condition, often building wooden sidewalks all around the buildings, all around the stone, concrete, steel, and brick buildings. And we have to put wooden platforms. Here we see the intersection of LaSalle and Washington Street. Once again, solid buildings and streets of mud. And this architecture is too sophisticated for the conditions that these people are living in. Here we see a museum. This was not a museum. And what is this writing here? What language is this? Kind of reminding me of the Wheel of Fortune. I'm just missing a few letters. Let me know if you know what this says. Seeming as if the museum hasn't had time to paint over it. Here we see a little castle top. And this was clearly an apartment building, just like all of these were. And they've just turned it into a museum. Just complete repurposement. A loan office right here. Up here, a printing company. And just worthless. Here you can see their wooden sidewalks, and then they've raised it about a foot here. This is something that you're planning after? After all this? This is what we get for the ground level? Here, a car company. Come on. This is a hotel, and it's been turned into this Pullman Palace car company. Even they know it's a palace. They're just gonna call it the Pullman Palace. Even guards. They just couldn't help but place a few guards here. Just not being able to shake the palace vibe. Can you even pull a car into this facility? Booksellers Row. Here you go. So many book printing, this and that. It's like the only thing they knew how to do was print books. And it would have been very important, as they were actively rewriting history. Here, a stuffed beagle would call this horse Fred. Hello, Fred. And the courthouse. 1870. Brand new, we would be told. Why does it look like it's old and burnt? And why does it look like this? Come on, 1870? Again, streets of mud. One old cypress tree. Not so old, but there's not much vegetation. But yet not new construction. This is completely fried. It seems it did its job. Took the blow from the plasma, discharged it, kind of cooked it out, but otherwise survived. And they'll put their scaffolding up, install windows, and call it construction. I mean, here they're telling us the wings were just added. Nothing has been added here. This is perfectly preserved from the past. Even the Iron Gate. Here, a gallery of art. I mean, how many museums and galleries of art Who cares what's in here? The building is more beautiful than anything in this gallery. We even have a dentist in here. Here we go. A gallery, a dentist, an art temple. They're just selling off the old world. All these will be full of old art and valuables that have been pillaged. Here, the Chamber of Commerce. This is so old already in this photo. It's like they've patched up this window with wood. Many of the windows are busted out. And this seems like an old opera house or something. Not a Chamber of Commerce. Who even has a Chamber of Commerce in 1870? Even today, the Chamber of Commerce is pathetic. I joined once with my coffee shop. I paid the $100 for the yearly fee, and I don't think it was worth it. I don't think I got anything out of it. I just thought the lady was nice. And now we're talking. The Waterworks Tower, one of my favorites in Old World Chicago. So I don't know what the point of this would have been in the Old World. I really don't. Some sort of tech. And here they've turned it into the Waterworks Municipality. Are you serious? Is this the old America we've been sold? 1870s? At what point did we transition from the hardships of the settlers to this? I didn't know our country was so grand, and most people still don't. It's only us in this community. No academia, no people watching mainstream historical documentaries. We have a clearer picture of this realm than most. Every aspect of these photos has been investigated by our community, and this building still stands today. I want to shout out Michael, who's working on a old world tour bus company in Chicago, and I'll let you know when he gets that up and running. And here, the Merchants, Farmers, and Mechanics Savings Bank. There we go. 4 stories for a bank in 1870. I don't know if I've ever in my life been to a 2-story bank. There's just no need. A dozen tellers, very sterile environment, and you're good to go. And here we have a tunnel under the Chicago River. What can I say about making tunnels under rivers? Since in my life I don't know anybody who's ever created or attempted a tunnel under a river with horse and wagon, I have to assume that the feat is completely impossible. But now this old world had it all. Cranes and heavy machinery, electricity, everything. And it wouldn't be for another 20 or 30 years after these pictures that we would get all the machinery up and running and ditch the horse and wagon. But in our narrative, they would just lump all this together. It just all happened so fast. And it's pretty sad that most people don't even consider it, even when they're told. Here are the Tribune Building, the New Chicago Tribune Building, the Old New Chicago Tribune Building, and here the Drake and Farewell Block. And the block is a building block, a massive chunk of building. For what and who? Here we have a couple customers just pulled up on their chariot, drawn by 2 horses. And this is pretty serious. Again, roads of dirt and mud with planks going up. Wooden planks, not even wooden stairs, just some crappy leaning ramps. And the abandoned city of Chicago. Some new arrivals. And then we have the fire. Let's just look at a few fire pictures. So here are now ruins of Chicago after the fire. And this is one of my favorite pictures. Look at this advanced, fabricated piece. This is either metal or metal encased in concrete. Nonetheless, this is very, very advanced. A piece like this, I would die for a piece like this right now on my land. Or these columns. All of this is so high tech, fused in together with brick. This is absolutely quality materials. Now in ruins in the late 1800s. And this is not the result of fire. And I think it would take 100 years before this photo, at least, to build this whole city out, especially when we see the quality of the materials, all the different industries that it would require just to create this rubble. Here we can see rebar all bent up, and more metal works. And then we have these horse and wagon people that are just living like they're in the Dark Ages, and yet their ruins lend to something or a time that is clearly much more advanced. So I think I'll just leave it there today. Surely I've been talking for more than an hour. Here we can see chunks of railroad. What does this have to do with the fire? Look at these pieces. And here, the open confession and salute to the controllers. And this is it. These guys would shape the future. These guys are in part responsible for why most people do not see these buildings as a part of America or every part of the realm. A unified people that were building in this style everywhere. And here it would be brought down to help facilitate the writing of a new history, a log cabin pilgrim history. And I think that's all for today. As you saw at the beginning of the video, I bought an old 2010 van, and I look forward to sharing my adventures in it. Thanks for being here. I love you all. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you next week.